Hello and welcome to Flexible Games, where we are continuing our overhaul of the base. And for now, I don't need any more of these researches working. Kind of want to repurpose those assembly machines to other things. And there's a lot of resources over here that I can just use someplace else. We are eventually going to repurpose or completely overhaul the research area, but for now I'll need to work on the next big circuit that needs to be expanded. The white circuits are pretty comparable to the red circuits in vanilla Factorio. They take a lot of stuff to make. Before I expand that area, though, my power won't be able to keep up if I add a bunch of assemblers. So let's add a couple steam engines to see if our temperature stabilizes. And it looks like the temperature is still maxed, so let's build a couple more and see if that's a good ratio. You know, these are the Mark II's boilers as well as the steam engines, so the ratios are a little different. I think in vanilla Factorio, the ratios are something like 10 boilers to 13 steam engines, or maybe it's 13 boilers to 10 steam engines. It's something like that, but when you get into the Mark II's and the Mark III's, the ratios kind of swing quite a bit. So looking at the electronic board, it's every 5 seconds it uses a circuit board. And transistors are every 3.5 seconds to make 5. And these use 5. Or no, they use... What do they use? So the circuit boards and the boards themselves, so that's 5 every 3.5. I'm trying to figure out the math, kind of the ratio. So I'm using 4 every 5 seconds, and I'm making 5 every 3.5 seconds. So I could do a 1-to-1, and I would just have excess. But what I decide on doing is sharing the load a little bit. But the basic boards and the white circuit boards is a direct 1-to-1. It takes 5 seconds to make one, and it takes 5 seconds to use one. So those can be placed side by side. The transistors I can share. So I can set up something like that, where it shares the transistors. I'm just playing around with how big I can expand the area. So you can see sort of the layout there. I don't want to invade too much on that galena that's right there. I do want to mine that out when we run out over on the other patch. So the other ingredients that these whiteboards need, we're going to have to bring in with a chest. You can see how I share the transistors because I'm actually able to make more of those at once than I need. So I don't need a 1-to-1 on that. So the middle will be where I bring in the other resources they need and push out the the result. Similar to what I did in the other build, I believe it was nickel that I used a double long inserter. So you go 2 spaces out, put your first chest and then your second chest, and you can actually reach both of those if you have 2 long-armed inserters. So one goes in, one goes out. Works really well. So these actually take the ferric chloride solution, which I have made a bunch of. So we got to pipe that in. One result of building undergrounds is it consumes all of your straight pipe. So because the pipe is there, I have to use long-armed inserters on the other circuit boards. And again, I misjudge where to put the chests. And you'll see in a minute here, you may catch it. Like, just the, I guess it made me so angry when I did it. Because I had just done it with lead. I had just done the same thing with lead. I misjudged the spacing. And so here I am just a few minutes later, literally working on a new circuit, and I put the chests too close. So I'm looking at the ingredients. I'm seeing they require actually 3 things. And I'm kind of filling back up with chests, because I need a bunch of chests here. I'm slowly getting rid of all of the excess materials that I've been picking up. As I expand the production. These need 3 things: wafers, plastic, and tinned wire. Because I can make tinned wire so fast, I think I'll just, use this design for my tinned wire, so bots don't have to be moving tinned wire around. It's a lot easier to make it on site, because I can make it, you make 2 or 3 at a time, and you would need just thousands of bots to keep up with faster production. So I'd rather make those quick things on site. Put the excess boards I've got in the chests. Set up. I don't have the chests I don't have the boards being made yet. It's a very simple recipe. Just basically wood and resin. So yeah, wood and one resin makes 2 boards. So I won't need a huge production of those phenolic boards. So I've got resin in vast quantities. So the next one is copper. And then tin. And they're already delivering it all, and I go to give it a second. I go to put the first long-armed inserters, and I realize very quickly that I totally screwed up, and I just get pissed at myself. So I quickly erase the requests on all of them, thinking that would make a difference. It really doesn't, because the requests already went out. So I decide, I'm just gonna clear them all out. And the bots just sort of stop in the air. I really confused the bots. The bots are just sitting there like, dude, what the hell, man? You wanted this stuff and now you took what's going on? So they just kind of sit there and hoping to find a place to put whatever material that they have. Because I have plenty of tin and copper on me. I actually didn't need to request all that much. And then I do tin, and I realize I have so much tin in my inventory that I can fill all the chests and all of the assemblers and still have 1,000 left over. So those bots literally have nowhere to put that tin. And they're just like sitting around, don't know what to do. So I finally I realize that the bots are all sitting around. So I do a request for solder. And I realize the bots are just standing around doing nothing, and I want to put them to work. So I put a storage chest down. That way all the tin that they're holding can be put away now that they have a place for it. And they go out and do some other jobs that was probably 200 bots that were sitting around not doing anything. So I'm requesting basic electronic components, but I'm not actually building them anywhere that's going into a chest. I want to build a separate production facility for those in the case that they're used in other circuit boards. I want to be able to create them in larger quantities. So these need tinned wire, silicon wafers, and plastic. Now the tinned wire, like I said, I want to put on site because it only needs one of them. So one wire, and I produce 3 of them. So I don't need a lot of tinned wire. I put down 3 to craft the tin wire, and I realize I don't need 3 because I'm producing them so fast that I don't need 3 assemblers. So 1 assembler is plenty for both of those. You could almost run 3 of them, or you could run 5 or 6 of them probably on 1 tinned wire, and it would be fine. But with the beltless setup that we have, so we want to request the materials that we need. So plastic goes in. I choose the outsides to put plastic in, and then check plastic. Plastic is full. I will probably eventually have to augment plastic. Probably have to add a bunch to it. So we got plenty of silicon wafers. I can go ahead and request those. Those stack though to 500, and I don't see myself needing 500. So because those circuits only, that's every 5 seconds. So that's a long time for those circuits. Granted, the silicon process is a pretty slow process. I'm definitely going to have to add silicon plate processors. That's like a 7-second. It's like a 7-second crafting job just for one plate, and it's pretty intense. So they need tin. Pretty simple to set up. I could have probably shared one chest, but I chose to be symmetrical with it and do 2 chests. So the copper, again, I'm going to need 2 of them. Because I only make 2 copper cable and I need 3 for every half second. I could probably get away with just 1 copper, but for now I'm going to stick with 2 just to make sure I can stay up to the production. I could have botted everything. I could have made a little area for transistors. I could have made a little area for tinned wire. But I like the look of the cascading production. So I put the request in for copper. Looks like the materials are getting delivered. The whole chain is complete except for the basic components, and those I actually do want to create a separate area for. So I'm placing the power poles, but I want to cover as much as I can. So I move them over to be a little bit more efficient. And I'm trying to figure out, I can't quite reach those outside. So one goes right in the middle. It covers a good chunk of all of that. Put some lights in. Copper's getting made, tinned wire's getting made. And transistors are getting made. Transistors are not... I've got transistors, but they're not getting delivered. Why aren't they getting delivered? And then I see it. I'm not actually moving them over. So I remedy that really quick. Gets everything moving. Don't have any of the basic components yet. I'll do that between episodes. I'll just mirror this design without the blue boards, and that should be plenty of basic components, because those you make 5 at a time as well, and so it's pretty straightforward. But research is coming up. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more bots and trains, and I will see you next time.